Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing yet another movie review for you all, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is an action film from France, French language English subs, released in the year 2024, directed by Xavier Gens, and this film is called Mayhem. It's also known as Farang, so if you can't find it under one title, please look for it under the other. So the story to Mayhem, we have a French criminal who has done something horrible, and now he is not only chased by the underworld, but the authorities want him as well. So he doesn't want to end up in jail for the rest of his life. He doesn't want to be buried in the forest somewhere, so he goes overseas to start a new life. Fast forward a few years, and now we realise he has made that life in Thailand. So he is a Muay Thai boxer, that's how he generates an income for his beautiful wife and a young child, and they have dreams of opening a restaurant on a beachfront. And so this is going to cost a lot of money, so they go to the bank for a loan. Everything seems to be going well, but at the last minute the loan falls through and the dreams have been crushed. So the wife is devastated by this, and the husband is going to stop at nothing to make his wife smile. So even if it means going back to his old ways of in the crime world. And so the local crime boss, who happens to be French as well, tells him that he can help him out if he does something for him. So it's a seemingly simple task that he's asked him to do, but things go bad. And so this task backfires, and now the crime lord is absolutely furious, and so he takes it out on this man's family. Now this family have suffered greatly as a result of this man's shortcomings, and now this man is going to put his aspirations on hold in order to go on a quest of vengeance that is about to get very brutal. So what happens at that point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Mayhem, aka Farang. I really wasn't sure what to expect this movie. The excitement levels were there, but I have a lot of skepticism because of Xavier Gens' inconsistency. He made a French horror film called Frontiers that I actually thought was pretty good. Then he went over to the United States and made a film called The Divide, and that was a movie that I actually really liked. And something I respect about Xavier Gens is that he hasn't completely sold out like Alexandre Aja, another fantastic French horror director who's since gone overseas, has watered his stuff down to appeal to a wider audience. And so really losing yourself in the face of money is something that is very common, and it's a Hollywood curse. But Xavier Gens, when he made The Divide, I still thought as though, alright, well, that is a movie that has a very similar heart to Frontiers. Now Alexandre Aja, he made the remake of The Hills Have Eyes that I absolutely loved, but after that he's just watered his stuff down to a point where I feel as though he's lost himself, and so I'm not really interested in Alexandre Aja anymore. But Xavier Gens, at least there's a glimmer of hope. But after The Divide, I've actually been let down by the inconsistencies of this director. He's made movies that I haven't liked, but there were aspects of those movies that I really liked. And so I don't know whether it's a lack of motivation or just a creative sort of block that he has, but I just feel as though it's not the same director as it was with Frontiers and The Divide. So he made a movie recently called Under Paris that I thought was a letdown, and so I didn't know what to expect with Mayhem. This is an action film, it's a violent movie, and it's from France, so that's a recipe for success, but I really wasn't holding out too much hope this is a movie that was going to really win me over. And after watching Mayhem, aka Farang, I will say that it's exactly what I was dreading that it would be. This is a film that is very generic. It does borrow ideas that you've seen from before, and unfortunately there are action movies that are a lot better than the overall piece that Xavier Gens presents in this movie. So this is a film that I thought as though the action was there. I thought it was quite brutal. I really liked the main character. I thought as though there was some attention to this character's development to a point where I felt, alright, the chemistry was there with the family. I thought, alright, there's a fear factor there. I don't want to see them get hurt, because I actually felt as though it was actually real. So the chemistry and the casting I actually thought was actually pretty decent. And so that was the film's pluses, but unfortunately that's where the positives stop, and this is where the negatives begin. It's the inconsistencies in this film, which is what I don't like about the director. This is a movie that doesn't really know how to kick into gear. It's an action film, but it takes way too long to get to the meat of what this movie's about. And you go into an action movie wanting action, but the action set pieces are very sporadic in this movie. So there's a general sense of boredom between those action sequences because the story just goes around and around in circles. I felt as though there was a lot of filler in this movie waiting to the movie's draw card. And when the draw card really sets in, it doesn't go long enough. And so the movie waits way too long to get to its centerpiece, and when it comes time to really shine, the movie has a sense of stage fright. And so that's something I really didn't like. I thought as though the side characters in this movie coming in, I thought were actually very forgettable. I thought as though there's a revelation towards the end of the film that I thought was absolutely ridiculous. It was there just to throw the audience off. You're not going to expect it because of the fact it's so silly. And so There's a lot of generic ideas that are thrown in here that, as I said, I have seen before. This is a film that's compared to The Raid. The Raid is completely different from this film. The choreography in The Raid was a lot better. This movie has impressive choreography, but overall I felt as though it was very jumpy, and so to compare it to The Raid is very misleading, and so you're going to be disappointed if you are a fan of The Raid. I thought this movie is definitely a few standards below that film. The Raid is one of the best action films that I've ever seen, and to say that this is a film up there with that, I definitely feel as though that's a selling point, but it's also tricking an audience. And so the movie, it ends very mediocre. I thought as though the main character was very good, the family was decent, but everything else apart from that, I thought it lacked motivation. The whole film has a strong level of inconsistency. There are generic moments that I thought I've seen time and time again, and that's another criticism I have of Xavier Gens. Even his really good movies, they are movies that have been recycled, but at least The Divide and Frontiers were not boring. They actually got to what the film was trying to, the point that it was trying to make. Whereas this movie takes way too long to get to its draw card and therefore becomes a bit of letdown. And so if it sounds like your kind of thing, going there with a lot of limitations and not expecting too much, maybe you'll get more out of it than I did. But for me, I just wanted so much more, and as a result of that, I come away very disappointed. I'm only going to give Farang, aka Mayhem, 2 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.